Hey guys, it's Bonnie and welcome back to my channel. I just want to welcome you. I am a rising senior at Southern Methodist University, so I just want to give you guys some background on me, especially if I have some new viewers with this video because it has nothing to do with any of my other videos. So basically, I'm a rising senior at SMU and I took the DAT twice. Recently, I just finished my last take and then I am in the middle of applying to schools and all of that, but I'm probably not going to get into like the application process as of now in this video. This is more about the DAT and what I did and like my story on it. So basically, let's start with what is the DAT. So there are 5 sections, I believe. The first one is Survey of Natural Sciences, so that includes Bio, Gen Chem, OChem, and each are 30 minutes long. With Bio has 40 questions, Gen Chem and OChem have 30 questions each, and then after that is PAT, which is the Perceptual Abilities Test, and that was something I had no idea what it was until I started studying for the DAT, and so basically that includes 90 questions and you get 60 minutes to complete that, and then you move on to reading comprehension and you get 60 minutes to complete 50 questions, and there's 3 passages with around like 15 to 17 questions each. And then the last section is quantitative reasoning, so that's basically math and like algebra, trig, just random math questions, like analysis, like it's just, I don't know, it was weird. But anyway, so at my school at Southern Methodist University, we don't have that many pre-dental students, so I honestly didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I didn't really have any guidance on anything. It was just a whole world of confusion, but I did have like a few people that I talked to about it, so I asked them like, oh, which study materials should I get, blah blah blah. So I asked all those questions around the end of my sophomore year just to see like what I had to do. And in around May of 2019 is when I bought Bootcamp because I heard that was like the best representation of the DAT, so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna go with that. I haven't heard of any in-person classes like what some people have with MCAT and stuff like that, so I didn't know exactly how to approach the study process, and so I bought the 6-month bootcamp subscription in May of 2019, and I started like very slowly studying for it, but in July I studied abroad in France, and so I honestly completely forgot about it. I was just enjoying my time abroad and I did not study, and then school came around and I was just focusing on my classes and it was just all of that, and I was like, oh shoot, like all my MCAT friends are about to take the MCAT in January and I haven't even started like studying for the DAT. And so December of 2019 is when I really crunched down and I was kind of doing REs, but then I decided I wasn't gonna do RE schedule, and I was actually retaking Chemistry 2 in January, and so I was like, okay, I might as well do like I might as well do the Gen Chem portion of bootcamp so that I'm better prepared for the class, for the accelerated class. And even though I'd already taken it, I just wanted to make sure I had all the material solidified. And so I think I spent like 2 weeks on just doing Gen Chem, like going through all the lessons. I would literally just sit in the dining room and just go through it and watch the videos, watch Mike's videos and all of that. And then I'm pretty sure I started OChem immediately after, and while I was taking my accelerated course in January, I was not studying for the DAT because it was just like 4 to 6 hour days of doing Gen Chem, and I would be exhausted and have homework and study for tests, so it was just like, it didn't really make sense to study for the DAT after that, especially since I was technically studying by doing Gen Chem. But yeah, so after that is when official spring classes started in spring of 2020, and that is when I really was studying a lot, and date, I had never scheduled a DAT exam date, but I did later. It ended up being on March 17th, and they actually closed down Prometric on March 18th, so I technically got lucky, I guess. But yeah, basically the way that I had scheduled my classes was that I had a class in the morning, and then I had a 3 to 4 hour block or a chunk of time in the middle of the day before my next class or my evening classes. My afternoon classes. And so I would dedicate that time just for DAT. So at my school, at least, you can schedule a study room. So I did that just so I had like a secluded area where I wouldn't get distracted and I could actually just focus on studying for the DAT. And I honestly think that really helps because it was like, okay, this is DAT time. So I'd kind of think of it as like a class type of thing. One thing I do regret is that I was spending a lot of time just like studying and learning the material instead of going directly to practice questions, because I feel like that is where the majority of learning happens. And so I definitely regret doing that, but I think it was a good idea to have those block schedules. And then one other thing that I want to mention is that it is really hard to balance school plus studying for the DAT plus maintaining friendships and relationships. And so there were sacrifices that needed to be made, and having understanding friends and boyfriends or girlfriends, like I feel like that honestly helps. Having a good support system is a big thing, especially in the long run with the admissions process, interviews. Like there's so much that's about to come, and it's really hard to do by yourself. So I feel like having that support system is really good. And it was hard being away from home and like studying for the DAT and studying for classes, because I felt like I just couldn't do all of it at once, but I did somehow. So that's definitely something I wanted to mention. So I think I started doing like practice tests. I took 2 full-length practice tests before my March exam date, and I think I averaged like 18, 19, 18 on the first one, 19 on the second one, and I was like pretty happy with that. I was like, okay, like 18 on my first full length, like that's pretty good. But my goal was to get above a 20, just because I know that's like more competitive and everything, and I just wanted to have a better chance at getting into dental school, especially because my GPA isn't like a 4.0, so I just wanted to have that steady, and I do have good extracurriculars, so I just wanted to be a well-rounded applicant. It came around to spring break, because spring break was when I was taking my exam, and the whole COVID thing started getting scarier, and I tried not to think about it, honestly. I was just like, I hope my center is open. So I would literally call them like every day, and I was like, are you guys open? Are you guys open? And like part of me was like, oh, hopefully it gets canceled so then I could like have more time to study. But I'm honestly so glad that it didn't, because I don't think it would have pushed me to change my study style, because I feel like that's what really improved. So anyway, let's go to test date for the March exam. So during the natural sciences, I honestly felt like it was so hard. I don't know if it was like I had a really hard test, but my bio was super hard, and I just felt like I was guessing. I don't remember any of the questions, honestly. It was so long ago, but I felt like I was guessing, and I didn't feel confident at all. And I remember like during my break, I was just like, well, hopefully like my guesses were right. But yeah, also for PAT, like I had barely studied PAT. I tried to focus on the other subjects because I had limited time while I was also studying for school, and so it was just like there were some things that I focused on, some things that I didn't. So PAT was one of the things that I didn't focus on, and I ended up, I think, getting an 18 in that, 18s in bio and OChem, and then a 19 in Gen Chem. And then I remember taking reading comprehension. I thought it was so easy, and I barely studied for it, but I ended up getting a 20, and I was actually really disappointed with that. I was like, oh man, like if I got a higher score, maybe I wouldn't have, I don't know. But yeah, I got a 20 on that, and then math I thought was super easy, and I ended up getting a 22 on that. So that averaged to a 19 academic average with an 18 total science. And I remember like coming out of the exam and I was so disappointed, and I was crying in the car, and I just wanted it to be done. Like all those hours studying, it was hard. I was on the phone FaceTiming my family and my boyfriend. It was just like hard, but you know, we made it through. And so then I just took the rest of that night and like I ate pizza and drank some wine, you know, just took a little night for myself because I really needed to just like relax and not think about studying. And then I'm pretty sure I took like the next week off of just like trying to figure out what to do. Like, should I retake? Should I not? Like, what do I do? So I think it was like the next day, honestly, and I was in contact with a dental student from UCLA and then a dental student from, she went to Western, but then she went to USC for specializing. So I talked to them and I was like, I need advice, like what do I do? And they were just saying like, oh, if you get a 20 or above, like you're gonna be a better applicant. And I was just like, you're so right. And I really didn't want to take it again, but I knew in me that I could do better, and I was able to do better. So I found all that motivation and I put it back into studying. But I didn't go right into studying like right away because I still had finals for school. So I waited till finals were over and then I really like studied hard. So I studied like 8 to 10 hours a day, and I was at home during this time too, so it was nice because it was just like my family, and like they were pretty distracting honestly, but I had like a whole room just to myself to study, and I would just like put my earbuds in, and I got kind of used to just like working with sound, which honestly made it better during the test because the first test I was wearing those headphones and they were hurting the tops of my ears because it was like the pressure was so much. But this time I didn't have to wear it because I honestly wasn't distracted by people's typing or anything, but you know. And so I feel like the main difference between my first time studying and my second time studying was that I implemented, especially for bio, I used the Anki, I don't know how to pronounce it, but those flashcards that everyone talks about. And I had heard about it before, like my first time studying, but I never really used it because I was like, oh, like I don't need those. You know, you just like sometimes you just brush things aside and you're like, oh, I don't need it. But you guys need it. It honestly works wonders. Like some people would just download other people's like Anki sets, but I felt like that wouldn't really work for me because I work through just like experience and doing it myself. So whenever I would get like something wrong on a question, I would go through it and like learn all the material, and if I really didn't understand anything, I'd go through the long what are they called, the long chapters on Bootcamp and just like read through the whole thing. And while I was doing it, I would make flashcards on just like the most random details, honestly, but also like big picture ideas because that's important too. And so I'd do that, and then eventually I had like all my flashcards made and I would just do them every single day, and just up until like test week. But I think they came in handy, and it like made me understand processes and also see like the connections between ideas, which was something that I did not have the first time around. So I thought that was really important. And then in terms of Gen Chem and OChem, it was just like doing practice questions. Like I felt like I knew everything and it was bad, but I shouldn't have had that mindset, but it felt like I just knew it. And so then I was like, oh, I can do this, blah, blah, blah. So I would just like keep doing practice questions, and obviously like there were some tests where I felt super discouraged and I was like, wow, like one test I got a 23 and I was so happy, and then the next test I would get a 19. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, is there any progress happening? Like all of that. But having people to tell me that it doesn't matter what the score says, like if you understand what you're getting wrong, then that's the most important. And I feel like that was a really good idea to just like be reinforced with, because it honestly really doesn't matter what score you're getting from practice tests. Like it is in general, like in reference to see like where you are on the spectrum. But if you get like a 17 on one thing and then you end up getting a 20 on something on like the same subject later on, and then it goes down a little bit, like there's still progress happening because you're still learning. So you have to think of it in that aspect instead of being like, oh, like I did better and then all of a sudden it went down again and like what's going on, all these things. Like it's better to just think like you're constantly learning material, and to have that open mindset will really help. That's something that I learned, especially because I was so fixated on the scores that I felt like it really stopped me from like doing better. So that was a big thing. And then I had also ordered, like right when I started studying for the DAT, I had ordered the 2019 Destroyer book. So I still had that just laying around, and I was like, I might as well just try like some of the questions. So I did around like 300 bio questions in that, and then I had a separate notebook just for Destroyer where I would like write down what I got wrong. And there was a lot that I got wrong, but that's like pretty normal for Destroyer because it's supposed to be like way harder than the actual exam and boot camp. And then one thing that really kept me organized was having a planner. So I used this Day Designer planner, and I'll show you one of my outlines for the month of July, or no, the month of June, because my latest test was July 2nd, so that was just a couple weeks ago. I scheduled like all these test dates, and I just have like whatever I'm doing, and then also I have like AdSAS admissions test, or sorry, submission, and so like that was scheduled, which means like before that I was working on applications and stuff, so it was like a lot of multitasking. But I would set specific periods of the day to certain subjects and certain things, which honestly really helped. So in the morning I would do 30 to 45 minutes of PAT because I knew that I needed to practice PAT every single day in order to get my score up, and it actually went from an 18 to a 20, and instead of feeling like I guessed all the time, I actually could like see shapes, which was important, especially for dentistry. And PAT, and then I'd usually do my like Anki flashcards right before I went to sleep or like after dinner, just because it took me like a long time, probably like at the beginning it probably took me like 2 hours to go through it, but slowly as like I got closer to the test date, sometimes it would like take me 30 minutes because I would have gone through so many of the flashcards by then already. So it's honestly really good. But let's see what else I did, because I have like everything here. I would try to do like a supplemental question or something during the thing. I was also trying to like implement working out because you gotta get your mind going. And then if you're wondering about my scores, so I honestly don't know. Here, should I get my score breakdown? Okay, so I just got my score breakdown for my most recent test, so I could tell you. Here it is. So for PAT I got a 20, for QR I got a 21, for reading comprehension I got a 26, for bio I got a 20, Gen Chem I got a 21, OChem I got a 20, total science 20, and then 22 academic average. So while I was taking this exam, I felt like one huge difference. Like, okay, this is like the biggest difference between the first time and the second time was confidence. And I actually felt like I like believed in myself, and I felt like I could do it. I felt confident in the material, I felt confident in myself. And I feel like those are such important factors to have while you're taking an exam, especially like a very long exam. I think that's just gonna boost your score at least a little bit. Like I had never got a 22 on my academic average, so I don't know if it was a one-time thing sort of thing, but if you want to know like what my score breakdowns were for all my tests and stuff, I'll put a link in the bio with a Google Doc that I made, like describing basically like some of the things that I talked about in here. But yeah, I made that like right after my test. And then I also have a study Instagram where I was like keeping friends and just random friends that I met through dentistry. I was keeping them updated on like my study schedules and like trying to keep everyone motivated, and I felt like that would motivate me too and keep me on track. And it was like some sort of accountability that I didn't have like in my house, because my parents would be like, oh, take a break, do this. And I'm like, I don't have time, like I can't go on a 5-mile walk, you know? Like there's some things that it was just like hard to explain to them, but this group of people understood, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like having that confidence and that just like believing in yourself really made me grow as a person too. And I feel like I've learned so much throughout this experience about myself and about how I learn and how I function, because I know some people like they don't like working in the morning, they only like working at night and stuff like that. But like for me, I would wake up really early and just study super hard in the morning and like the first part of the day, and then take a couple hour break in the afternoon and go back and do flashcards later. And I feel like that process really worked for me because I personally love mornings and I felt most productive then. And just taking like a midday break really worked because it was like giving my mind a rest, and like I would have time to work out and stuff. But not everyone's like that, so you just have to figure out what works best for you and stick with it and believe in yourself, because you guys got it. And if you have any questions, feel free to follow my study Instagram, DM me, comment on here, whatever you guys want. But I hope this helps in any way. I just wanted to share my experience to see if anyone got anything from this. But I'm gonna try and like post other videos on the admissions process and stuff, because I submitted most of my applications. I just have like one more that I have to submit, but yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna get interviews, if I'm gonna get interviews. It's really scary. But you know, it's just a waiting game from now on. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.